All right, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome you guys to the call. My name is Antonio Freeman, EVP Gold in Las Vegas. Before I get started, I want to ask everyone if you could, next time you're on your computer, the next time you're online, I want you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at our pages here. We have a Facebook like page, it's Technology Kill Child Support. So also get a chance to follow us on those pages. And also if you're on Instagram, you can also follow us on Technology Kill Child Support as well. And this picture you see of this beautiful young lady, her name is Chris. And this is ourselves when we're at an event here in Las Vegas. And I want to share this picture with everyone just to let you guys know that even though you're dealing with a child support order and you may have had a situation where you're dealing with someone and the relationship has fell apart, and you maybe have had separated from the family there, and maybe your kids and wife have been separated, that can be a very hard situation to go through. And for many people, it also feels like that you cannot have another relationship, or it maybe makes you very skeptical to have relationships in the future after dealing with a child support order or a divorce or paying alimony or things like that. So I want you guys to know that it's very important to understand that life can continue and you can be happy and things can start turning around for you once you start using these strategies and applying that we're going to talk about for you guys again. So if you guys just joined us on the call, again, my name is Antonio Freeman. I'm EVP with MyEcon here out of the Las Vegas area. I've been dealing with child support my adult life. And we don't understand that it is a very difficult thing to go through in many situations, for definitely for many different people as well. I haven't seen my one of my boys in probably about 15 years by now. And I had a separation from the mother of that child. Now, not only did it break up a son and father's relationship, but it also broke up a friendship as well. I had a friendship with this person for about 15 years as well. And that was very stressful. That really took a lot out of me. It took a lot out of the relationship I had, because at that time, this person was my best friend. And to have something destroy that in that manner, it really can be devastating. But as I continued to go through the situation, paying child support, I had ended up owing about double the amount. I was disregarding the support order. I felt like, if I wasn't going to see my son, I wasn't going to pay anything. And what happened with that, when I decided to take that type of action, it wasn't helping my situation at all. So I ended up being in arrears and having, a tremendous amount of debt, and also being separated from the child. I didn't have a lot of money to get an attorney. I actually just tried to fight it the best way I could, and obviously without any additional support, I was unsuccessful. So I went through life many years just trying, being very angry and upset with the parent and with myself and the situation. But over time, things did change, and I was introduced to a solution by a good friend of mine. And at the time, I had a small business, and that business wasn't going very well. So when my friend offered for me to take a look at a company called MyEcon, I did that. But what I found in that is that it allowed me to do a couple of things that I, number one, had no idea that was possible. And not only just to survive in business, it also showed me some ways on how I can actually have the government pay my child support order. See, I had actually been threatened with jail. They were threatening me with garnishing my wages. They was threatening me with suspended licenses. I mean, there was a couple of times when my license was suspended. I was, driving, taking a trip to California, and, here I go get pulled over and find out that my license was suspended. And I don't know if any of you had ever experienced that on the call, but I'm gonna tell you, it's not a pleasant situation. But I was very fortunate. I must have just ran into the right officer at the time. He'd actually let me go. Now, keep in mind, this happened on 2 different occasions. And because it was a child support suspension, they didn't take much action on that, and they just let me go. But there was a warning telling me to, get that fixed. But just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, going through that, having that type of fear. You can't even drive anywhere without, the threats of your license being suspended. And then there were certain jobs that you couldn't get because of a license suspension. I remember I was trying to get a job at a major company. I was looking to make some really good money there. And through the application process, they was asking me, has your license ever been suspended? And I had to put yes. And how embarrassing is that, ladies and gentlemen, to actually have to put, I felt like a major criminal. Now, keep in mind, I'm trying to do the best I can to survive with my current relationship. And when you're having money taken out of your paycheck, and when you can't even barely get a job, and then the jobs you're going to get are be minimum wage job, it's going to be very difficult to feel like a man and to feel like someone that you're being supported, and to actually paying this money out, and and you don't get to see your child, and you don't get to have all the benefits that goes along with it because of the lack of financial situations, and because the lack of support that you may have, and you can't obtain an attorney or anything like that. And then some people, especially fathers who I spoke to, they don't even want to go through the process because they feel that they've been violated, and it feels so detrimental to someone to feel like all of your rights have been taken away from you. You can't do anything about it. So when I found the system, it actually allowed me to do a couple of things, and I didn't even know that was possible. It actually allowed me to change my life around. And so one of the things I did over the first step in this program that it taught me how to do is, number one, it taught me how to correctly adjust my W-4. Now, why is that important? See, here's the deal, guys. About 80% of Americans in this country, they're overpaying in their taxes, and therefore they're they incorrectly adjusted their W-4. What does that mean? When you incorrectly adjust your W-4, you then give the government away money. And that is in the tune of a minimum of $40 a week, upwards to $300 to $400 a week. So that's the first thing I was taught how to do, is bring more money back into my paycheck by the government standing. Then the second thing I learned how to do is then minimize some of the debt I had. And that debt also supplied to child support. See, when you're minimizing your debt, that then frees up more money to come into your household. But if you don't, first of all, learn how to correct your W-4, you're not going to learn how to get that money back to start paying that down in the first place. See, the government, ladies and gentlemen, they give you the ability to correctly do that so you can have proper withholdings. So the last thing that I was taught how to do is how to have the government pay my child support. What does that mean? How are you going to have the government pay your child support? Well, it's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. When the government allows business owners, it gives them a certain tax code. That tax code allows you to then take that income and then place it in specific areas that you need to, if you choose to. And one of those those areas for us is a child support. So I don't understand that, Tony. That doesn't make any sense. Well, let me break it to you down this way. Let's take a person who's making a regular job. Okay. If you look at this chart, you can see that an average person who's paying a high child support order anywhere between 30 and 40%, that income goes to their child support. Then they're overpaying in their taxes, so that leaves about 30% of their income is going to the government. Then 14 to 15%, even 20% is going to debt. That only leaves you, ladies and gentlemen, with about 9 to 10% of your income. So how can you survive when you're only receiving 10%, less than 20% of your income? And then you can understand why some fathers are now having such a hard time paying their child support order. You see, it's not that a lot of times that people don't want to pay, they simply can't pay, because they don't understand a couple of principles that the government gives business owners. Let's take a look at the person who actually applied our strategy. First of all, as a business owner, the government gives you certain deductions in the tune of over 475 write-offs that a person can apply being a business owner. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, some of those apply to child support. Now, let's take a look at this. A person is paying less in taxes, they become a business owner, and then the government will begin to pay their child support. If they apply our principles and our strategy, their income that they will bring home will increase by 50 to 75%. Their tax responsibility will go down at least to 10%. And then as they begin to apply that income, they will then pay down their bills and debt. So a person who does not apply our strategies versus a person who applies our strategies, here's the difference in income that a person will receive per month. Let's take an example. If a person has a $2,000 income per month. Now, they're paying about 30% in their taxes. Their income then gets reduced from $2,000 to $1,400. Then at 30% with their debt and expenses, that 30% is taken out of the $1,400, which leaves $980. Now, the average person that's paying a child support order is anywhere between 30 and 50% of their check is being withdrawn by garnishments. Now, if you take 40% of that $980, they have $392 take-home pay. Now, let's take a look at someone who's actually applying our strategies, and they have the same income. A person with $2,000, they're applying our strategies. Now, their taxes are being taken down to about 10%. That leaves them $1,800 of income. At 15% of their debt, because it's been chopped down, now their take-home is $1,530. Even if they have the same child support order of 40% of taken out of their paycheck, their income is as high as $918. Now, what did they do with all of that freed up income? Well, some people can apply that to an asset. Some people can apply that to their child support. Some people can apply that to their debt. Even if a person takes an additional $100 out of 12 months, and they put that into an asset that earned them 6% over the next 20 years, that person would then have given themselves $128,000 in free taxable income by the government, because that's an asset that was tax-free. And not only are they keeping this income for themselves, now they're able to apply that to their life. So what is a big picture of what you're looking at, Antonio, if you're dealing with someone who's paying a child support order and they're barely surviving with the income that they have? Well, if a person continues to not apply a strategy like what we teach, this is what they're looking forward to. Remember back in the other slide when I said a person is just barely making that $392 because they're not applying a home-based business or they're not a business owner. This is what they're looking to expect. If a child support order is $300 a month, and if a person pays at an average of 18 years, that's when the child is born, and if the situation didn't work out up until his responsibility age of 18, that person would have paid $64,000. That working income of $332, if they did that same job for 18 or 20 years, that overall income would be $95,000. That's what a person would make over the 20 years. But keep in mind, they've paid out $64,000 of child support. So how does that apply with someone who's actually applying our strategies here at MyEcon? Well, if a person had that same situation at $300 a month, and they paid it for 18 years, that's the same $64,000. But it's the same working income that the person was able to keep in their household, that person still earned $918. Well, if they applied that same working principle for over 20 years, their income would be as much as $220,000. Also applying the investment income that the person abused, and they earned the $128,000. You put that all together, and a person will have $348,000. Now that's just simply using the principles and philosophies of income shifting that we teach. Now, a person could decide to do that, or they can continue to be struggling and stay in debt and have no support for their child support order. So if you total that up, because remember, as a business owner, certain things are write-offs, and the government will help you pay that, and then they'll give you money back for that. So if you apply that $64,000 with the total income that a person was using while applying our strategies, that individual or family actually made $412,000 over the last 20 years versus having the $95,000 and subtracted for the $64,000. I'm sorry, I was supposed to put a total number here, but I did forget that. But we do understand that's $31,000. So only $31,000 in the last 20 years that a person would probably see versus a person who is using our strategies and income shifting strategies here at MyEcon, who actually walked away with about $412,000. So ladies and gentlemen, the choice is simple. If you're struggling with trying to pay your child support order, if you're barely making it each month, you can't see any kind of income from your check because the government and the child support is taking, 40 to 50% of your income. The solution is simple. Learn our income shifting strategies. Begin to apply it to your family and your household today. So I want you to get back with the person who invited you on this call, and they're going to show you how to get started. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I want you to follow us on Facebook and also follow us on our Instagram pages at And Technology Killed Child Support. I'm going to turn the call back over to Miss Pam Sam, and I want to thank you guys very much for joining us on the call.